Hola amigos, una vez más, en esta oportunidad desde Ciudad de México para contarles todo sobre Spiderman, lejos de casa. Vamos a estar hablando aquí, en esta capital, con sus dos protagonistas, Tom Holland y Jake Gyllenhaal. Esta segunda película en solitario de Spiderman lo encuentra a Peter Parker por Europa, recorriendo las grandes capitales de ese continente. Fuera de su zona de confort, que es la ciudad de New York, veremos cómo se comporta Peter Parker después de los hechos ocurridos en Avengers Endgame. Partan con nosotros todos sobre Spider-Man lejos de casa, aquí, en las redes de Cinemark y Hoyts.
Everywhere I go, I see his face. I just really miss him.
Yeah, I miss him too. I don't think Tony would have done what he did if he didn't know that you were going to be here after he was gone.
This is Mr. Beck.
We could have used someone like you on my world.
Your world?
The snap to our hole in our dimension.
You're saying there's a multiverse?
We have a job to do, and you're coming with us.
You're right, you may not be ready. But this is my responsibility.
The world needs the next Iron Man.
Mi sentido arácnido me dice que ya tenemos las entrevistas. Okay guys, thanks for your time. It's nice to see you. Far From Home is the new movie of Spider-Man.
Yes.
So, what can you say about this new adventure of Spider-Man? What happened with Peter Parker in this movie?
This one is much bigger than the last one. It's on a much grander scale. It's global. You know, we take this character that we know and love so well around the world to new places we've never seen him before. We introduce a new hero, which is Mysterio, played by Mr. Jake Gyllenhaal. And we, as a team, have to fight these kind of mythical creatures called the Elementals, which is a really exciting and huge kind of scale action, which is really fun. But while we have this massive action, we don't lose any of the heart of the movie, which I think is, you know, the holiday with these kids from an American high school.
Well done.
That was good, right?
Yeah,
I pictured the
that was
movie
good.
pretty good, yeah.
You play Mysterio. It's one of the most important villains of Spider-Man. How close to the comic character is your interpretation?
It's not.
Not, well, there's similarities.
Well, I mean,
the fishbowl.
Fishbowl.
The
Ah, yeah.
cape,
A cape,
you know.
the green suit.
He's an FX artist, a magician.
Not really.
No.
Oh.
No.
No. How? I don't know. We probably should. No.
And what do you feel in this kind of movies with superheroes, with him, with own universe, and you know, comic adaptations with many fans? How do you feel?
Well, I mean, I think generally I feel like it's an incredible world. To play one of the characters or a hero or superhero in this space is incredible. It's an honor. And I think what makes Mysterio really interesting to me is that because he's a more obscure character in the comics, they had their way with him in terms of figuring out where he went. And to make him team up with Peter Parker and Spider-Man, to make them become friends who actually fight something together is
it's pretty
really
awesome.
cool.
Yeah. And our superpowers don't really kind of match up. So it makes the action sequences really unique because Iron Man and War Machine is a great pairing because they're kind of similar superheroes, so they really do look like a team. But our kind of set pieces are really unorthodox in the world of superhero movies, so it's quite interesting to see something totally fresh and unique.
With this movie, it's already 5 times that you play Peter in films. What is the best thing from make the same character in different movies?
It is easy, but it's sometimes you're bouncing from movie to movie. So for example, when I was shooting Far From Home, I was also shooting Avengers Endgame at the same time, so I was bouncing between the two. And it's important to not get the storylines kind of crossed. So sometimes you have to really sort of sit down and try and figure out where you are in your own timeline. And as you know, in these kind of crazy MCU worlds, the timeline can be so confusing sometimes. So it can be tough, but for me, I feel like Peter Parker's just myself with an American accent who swears less. So I...
Drinks less.
Thanks, Jake.
Jake, what do you think? Why this universe works? Why do people love this kind of movie, this universe?
I feel like, well, it's a special mix of a lot of things. I think you have an incredible team with Marvel generally and bringing Sony and the Spider-Man character into the mix. But I also think the casting and the specifics of each one of the characters really relates to the person who's playing them. There's a similarity with all of them in a lot of ways that makes it true. And I also think that there's a mythology that we all relate to. So when you bring all of those things together, and we like to see ourselves in each aspect of the struggles and the triumphs of each one of these characters, you know, you want to keep coming back to see how they do it, just like you want to know, you know, what's going to happen in your own life in a way.
The last question, I read that Jake was an inspiration for you. His movies was like a mirror for you as an actor. How was the experience working with him?
It was amazing. It really was amazing. It was everything I kind of hoped it would be. Sometimes, as I'm sure you've experienced in the past, like you'll meet people you look up to and they're not quite as special as you would have hoped. So I was really sort of apprehensive, is that the right word, to be working with you? And it was such a sort of fantastic experience, and I'm so glad that it was everything I would have hoped it would be. And I learned a lot from you working with you and the way you work and the process and how you approach stuff. And yeah, it was really, really great, and it worked out being such a fantastic choice for this movie.
But also, I think that Tom has an energy that pretty much everyone can feel when you're hanging out with him, which he really does bring out the best in a lot of people. It's just a particular type of energy that certain people have, and he has a really kind of amazing positive one. And he wants to connect people. And I think that's really what acting is when you have fun, is you get to connect in a real way. And so to meet somebody who has had so much success at his age and is still thoughtful and humble and cool, you know, it makes you go, yeah, you want to connect with them in the scene and you love hanging out with them. Those are the people you like hanging out with. So it makes sense that, you know, this jaded dude like me could actually be turned around by a great-spirited, cool guy like him. You know.
You're really nice, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.